This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, ABRP Planner, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? We are now in Doi Ang Khang and this is gonna be the steep mountain test, and we are sitting in it's a Deepal S07. So let me see, let me just reset the creep meter and then off we go. And yeah, so Doi Ang Khang doesn't mean anything for you guys, but that's why I just say it's a steep mountain test, and we have roughly 20% grade uphill, or yeah, steepness, whatever you call it, at the steepest. So this is a Chinese car. It's rear-wheel drive, 190 kilowatt or around 258 horsepower. So I just want to check if it has any performance problems when you go uphill and stress it. And this car is actually the 6th most popular EV, or most sold EV in 2024 in Thailand. So yeah, it's actually selling more than Model Y, and actually I think also Model 3. So anyway, there was one thing I forgot to check here. Let me see. Gonna go to drive mode, set it to sport mode, yeah, in case sport mode unlocks more power and then makes it, or prevents any I don't know, power limit. So yeah, I'm not gonna test this with every car out there, but at least popular cars in Thailand, yeah, I should test it. So you probably notice that we have a slightly different starting position. So I'm cutting it slightly shorter because this is where all the steep stuff happens, right? So earlier, okay, there's some stuff going on uphill, but also some boring parts in my opinion. Around here is where all the hairpin turn starts. So if you watch the other episodes before, you will see that I cut out maybe around 5 minutes of driving. But when it comes to elevation, now we start at around 800 meters over sea level. The old starting position is only around 550 meters. So I mean, that's 200 meters up. But you will see that we actually go to around I think about 1600 meters over sea level. So it's still plenty of stress testing, and also I feel like the new route here, the new starting position, condenses the test and makes it not too boring, but also wait, I have to pay attention there. Wow, this is kind of scary. There's been a landslide here, and then it's been raining lately, so there could be a risk of another landslide when we are just driving here. No, but it maybe puts more stress, or yeah, because we have to drive the uphill on that part that we start at now, right? And then we have to go back again, and put also stress on the battery and the drivetrain when we have to regen a lot. So I should try to hammer it, since I don't have any ballast, no people in here. Ideally, maybe I should get something like sandbags or whatever, put it in the car, increase the weight by at least 200 to 300 kilograms. That should make the test more realistic. Yeah, or something. Yeah, maybe a rice bag is probably a bad idea, because I need something like banana boxes. They never degrade. They don't dry out or rot or decompose or anything. At least not in Norway. Yeah, I brought banana boxes to Thailand. I just wonder how the high moisture level will affect things over time, because actually the shaft, or I call it the shaft, but the suction cup I've been using in Thailand seems to degrade for some reason. I'm not sure if it's because of higher temperature or moisture level or whatever it is, but the suction cups I've been using in Norway, no problem, because they only stay around let's say 0 degrees at the worst if I keep it in the car, until to around maybe 20 degrees, 30 degrees. Well, actually in the garage, yeah, and I keep them at some in the garage, yeah, some at home. But the rubber there are still fine after many years, but here they seem to struggle a bit. Sorry if I have some coughing going on. Isabel caught that flu. And then I also got it. It's quite contagious, supposedly. Oh, I feel, oh. The car might not be struggling, but the driver is struggling because, there's pressure difference now in the ears, and usually I can equalize it by just open my mouth and then but now because I have this flu and I have some schmutz in what do you call it, mucus, I have problems equalizing the pressure. So that's how much elevation change we have, or how fast it is. So wow, up here it's clear. Sun is rising. It's 7 in the morning. We just cleared the clouds, and still I don't feel any power limit. I can't see on the display if there are any limits or anything. No dashed line or anything like that. Oh, I see. It's a bit slippery here, so I better be careful. But we are actually putting a lot of stress on the drivetrain now, more than a typical motorway run where we cruise at 140, 150 kilometers per hour, because, well, you can do the math, but we are gaining elevation, which requires a lot of power, or we gain a lot of potential energy here by going higher up. And the disadvantage here is that we are driving so slow, so the car doesn't get a lot of airflow to cool down things, unlike when we are hammering at 140 kilometers per hour. But then over there on the autobahn or whatever, it's usually fairly flat, but here it goes quite steep up. I think there are some flowers over here that people likes to watch or take pictures of. I wonder when they bloom. Yeah, there's some beautiful pink flowers here. It's a nice place. I've seen the bird watchers here. Yeah, people come up here and they go tenting. Now when I just try to semi-floor it, I feel like traction controllers are struggling to get enough traction. But that was a piece of cake. But let me check something here. Okay, I reset the trip meter before we started, and now it shows 344 watt-hour per kilometer. Wait, after 6 kilometers. Really? That sounds a bit low, because the Ioniq had around 600 watt-hour per kilometer. Wait, is this car lying about the consumption? But it's not capping it, at least. Oh shit, wait, I don't want to get stuck behind the motorcycle. I should have just gone before the motorcycle. They are slow compared to us. Okay. But okay, so it was 347 watt-hour per kilometer. Okay, so we haven't seen any cap, at least. Yeah, this is exactly what I meant. They are slow. So they have 2 wheels. They're going downhill, and it's wet, so they don't want to risk anything. So I'll just wait after this hairpin turn, and then it should be fairly clear to hammer them. But yeah, I didn't feel any power limit on the way up, so that's good. Initially, the reason why I started doing this test is because there was an Aura good cat, or in Europe it's called Aura funky cat, that had problems when going uphill a lot. It would then get power limits. But yeah, I didn't really get any power limit with other cars. Oh, okay, I had to be careful now. Yeah, I forgot. When we are regenning now, this is kind of scary. When we go downhill, there might be limited traction, and then I might slide in one of these hairpin turns, and then if there's an oncoming car, then we have a little Unfall. So I want to take it easy. I'm actually using some brakes here. If the road would be totally dry, I would try to regen. We'll see if we get any regen limit also. So I'm not sure if car manufacturers do these kind of tests. I mean, I know they go to Lapland and there's drift around an ice track, yeah. But climbing up a steep hill, well, maybe it's not needed, because pretty much all the other cars I tested, they perform really well, no problem at all. EVs, of course. Fossil cars could struggle if you have like a 1.2 liter engine with I don't know how many horsepower, 60 to 80 horsepower. They might not be optimized for going uphill. I actually heard many fossil cars struggle uphill, especially if it's not diesel and it doesn't have that much torque. And again, they might be optimized for going at faster speeds on the motorway, so you get enough airflow to cool down the engine, because fossil cars are highly inefficient. And if you come up here, this is the ultimate stress test for fossil cars. They will be struggling uphill, and the stuff might overheat, because since they are so inefficient, they generate so much more heat than an EV, and they have to reject all that heat, and they might not be able to reject in time until stuff overheats. Yeah, speaking of fossil cars, you see. But then on the way down, they struggle with something else, which is you have to brake. Yeah, otherwise car is gonna break. Oh look, oh shit, it's cold rolling all the way up. Oh shit. And then if you brake too much, then the brakes will actually stop functioning. And then you have big problems. But EVs are different, because you just regen. Yeah, now the consumption is down to 274 watt-hour per kilometer. That indicates that we are regenning a lot. But I'm actually pushing the brake pedal a lot, because I feel like the regen here is not that strong. If I just let go now, it just gains more and more speed. So with the Ioniq 5, which is also rear-wheel drive, and I think it was Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive, they could actually regen enough to go downhill kind of just without touching the brake, or without using friction brake. Here I feel like I need to use some friction brake on the way down, so this could be a small minus for this car versus other cars I tested. Yeah, I also set the regen to the highest. So remember, I forgot, I put it in sport mode. Yeah, okay. I forgot, sport mode might change something. Drive mode. I think sport mode. Okay, if I go to custom. Okay, I see. Yeah, I now notice. Now suddenly I have a lot stronger regen. I've set. What is cool about this Deepal is that you can set in custom mode. You can set the regen level, but it's not just high, medium, low. You can set it. There is a bar that goes to 100%. Dude, freaking annoying. I'm gonna adjust the regen. Okay, it goes in 1% increments from 0% to 100%. That is quite cool. Okay, so let me see. I want to do this. Okay, so now I use custom on the driving mode, and then I set acceleration to faster. It's weird. It's standard, economy, and faster. That's a weird. I mean, it's not linear. So first we have the mid, and then the lowest acceleration, and then the highest. And then steering mode is just comfort, and then the regenerative. Yeah, that one is set to custom, which is 100% now. So now it's better, because I was previously in sport mode, which typically has lower regen. So now this feels more like one pedal drive, but I believe it's a blending brake. So even when we were in sport mode, and I pushed the brake, I probably just activated the blended brakes, which then activated mostly the rear axle for braking, which is maybe not ideal. If it's slippery outside, we could lock the rear axle, which could cause some scary situations. So, but it's usually not that big of a problem. Normally when I come here and test it, it's dry, but today it's wet, so that could be scary. So maybe there should be a way to avoid too much regen. Well, you can set the regen, but many cars, even if you set it to low regen, it it has blending brakes. So when you push the brake slightly, it will just apply more regen. But Tesla is different, because in Tesla, if you actually change the regen, it changes the regen. And then if you push the brake, then you actually activate the the physical, I mean the friction brakes. So yeah, but I think in most cases it's not really a problem. But okay, now at least I feel like when I just let off the brake, it feels and handles more like the Ioniq 5 or the Model Y rear-wheel drive I tested. So at least that part is the same, you know. And let me go back to the trip meter here. 207 watt-hour per kilometer. Wow. Huh. So interesting. It seems like the consumption was correct then. Yeah, that we had around 350 watt-hour per kilometer at the top. But you know, I measured that this car weighs only 2 tons and 30 kilograms with driver. That is fairly light. I didn't expect it to be that light. Maybe they use some aluminium here. But yeah, so now 194 watt-hour per kilometer. Yeah, this is similar to the 90 test. I had around 160 watt-hour per kilometer in the 90 test. So once we get back to the starting position, we'll see what the consumption is. But now we're just harvesting some of the potential energy on the way down. So let's see. Well, it's short there. It should be around here, isn't it? End point. Let me try to floor it there. There's no power limit here. It goes like a rocket still. Yeah. So, but this is also what I expected. But since it's a very popular EV in Thailand, I just had to check it and see if there are any problems. But the car passed. Yeah, no problem. So now I'm gonna do a second run. This time in Thai, and then maybe it overheats on the second run. We'll see. But at least the first one was no problemo. So now I want to go and shoot a thumbnail, but there are some dogs around here. I'm not sure it's a stray dog or anything, but they are a bit. What if they bite me and I get the rabies? Okay, whatever. But yeah, so the consumption was 176 watt-hour per kilometer, which is what you would expect. Yeah. And what else do you see here? Distance 12.5 kilometer, and then total energy 2.2 kilowatt hour. Yeah, okay. So the car did it no problemo. So that's gonna be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.